Well, hello, my lovelies. It is an interesting day. I don't know if you guys have been aware, but we had a new moon and a solar eclipse like on the same day, and I'm pretty sure they were at alignment or conjunction or whatever. I'm not an astrologist, but they were definitely like on the same day. So if you have fell off, I will explain to you why with this video, and hopefully get some clarity on how to really call back your own energy and just kind of focus on like recharging, which is basically what you would want to do if you felt like stuck or stagnant. But to get into this video, I'm holding these cards for a reason, I promise. If you're new here, I like to pull 3 cards just to get a clarifying on the energy and what we're going to talk about, just to confirm things. So if you don't feel called to the reading, you can skip ahead about like 2 or 3 minutes. But anyway, so let's get started. So the King of Pentacles was definitely the first card that pulled out. Definitely some divine intervention, some divine guidance from the universe. He is basically a leader. A lot of us felt really, and somebody messaged me and did a little video for me today, actually talking about this masculine energy, this feeling of productivity. Like we always feel like we need to be doing something in order to feel like validated, like our own energy needs to be validated by ourselves by being productive. I don't know if you're aware, but that can get really chaotic really fast, especially if you're a hyperactive soul. You really like to set goals for yourself. It can make you feel like in a slump even further and make you feel like you're stuck or stagnant, or your creative energy is just not there. So try to get out of that masculine energy of wanting to just kind of not necessarily be in control of everything, but just wanting to have everything going. So pull this could really be divine feminine trying to pull you back and let you kind of relax and focus your energy back on like recharging and healing. So again, perfected success is our next card. So definitely working with that balance, that inner balance of divine feminine and divine masculine is what we're seeing here. So we have 2 hands. We have the one at the top. It's got like this light from the flower that it's pouring into each and every one of these cups, the 10 of cups. So definitely some energy work. We're just kind of going through a little bit of like an end to a cycle. Obviously we were ending a cycle already, but this is basically confirmation that use your intuition. Your intuition will guide you like towards what you really need to be doing, because sometimes we don't need to be productive in order to be validated. So understand that. And again, another one, a really big one, is we actually could be going through some big shifts in our life. So this Tower card is basically an indicator that the old is finished and the new is beginning. So we have like this Tower moment where we either lose friendships, relationships, a job, career, whatever it is. It shifts and changes, and so it feels really strange and confusing, especially if you are a hyperactive soul. You like to be like constantly doing something. So just try to step back from that energy, because it can be chaotic if you let it kind of consume you. So relax and realize that you still are this beautiful law of attraction, this your magnet for success. You just sometimes we have to take a step back. And honestly, too, another part of the video that was explained to me was like we feel like sometimes like we don't see the road ahead of us, and so it gets really confusing and blurry, and we get a little bit like stuck in our own overthinking. So not necessarily energetically stuck, but we feel like we're stuck. So it just kind of manifests this toxic loop, this toxic cycle within our head. And basically it's not going to necessarily completely block you from abundance, but it is going to test you in a lot of energetic ways. So we're trying to really clear out a lot of that headspace energy where we feel cluttered, non-creative, or just like we can't be as productive as we want to. So sometimes divine will basically test us. And what I was actually told in the video too, maybe this will help clarify, like she was getting paid for a reading, the person that sent me the video, and she didn't get paid right away. And usually she charges like a certain amount, like $44 for her readings. And so she didn't get paid for that reading. It took about like 2 weeks or something, but then she got tipped out to like $100 instead of just the 44. So she was super happy. And so basically what she said is that was basically a reminder of of being patient with your energy, your manifestations, because when we tell the universe we want something, we have to work out like this process in our mind and understand that things have to happen in the outside world for us in order to them for them to work in our present situation. So we can set these manifestations through journaling. We can set them through being a pyromaniac and burning them on a piece of paper. And whatever it is, like your candle magic, whatever you're using to manifest, you want to set that intention and basically be patient for it to manifest itself and have this gratitude within you so you know that it is actually working out in the universe. Because our spirit guides, our soul will tell us that, we are still in alignment even though things feel off or shifted. There's a lot of and I talked about this too, honestly, with my last video about shadow work, really loving your shadow self. It wasn't really the focus of the video, but it's really important to understand that, there's this societal structure where we feel kind of like we have to be a certain way. We have to be constantly doing something, working a 9 to 5, working these long hours in order to feel like there's money coming in for us. But there's so many different gateways, so many different opportunities, and side hustles, babe. So many side hustles that we could be doing to bring in more abundance for us. But it's also about kind of putting these in like on a table and organizing yourself, because having an organized structure, an organized like foundation for yourself will help you realize that there's other opportunities. You don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket and basically be upset when you drop the basket, because yeah, I hope that analogy. I told you I was going to get better with analogies, and I'm working on it. But hopefully that makes sense. So when you lay out a table and you start organizing yourself, you can realize that more of these structures take the foundation, but also take a lot of building, a lot of like, working on your farm or whatever, and just like it takes more than just the foundation, but the foundation is the strongest part of it and will allow you to build up more structures. But it is also this message. I hope it resonates. But there's this thing too that I saw on Facebook. It was a post about success. It's not a straight line up. It's actually a zigzag, or sometimes people call it a different type of shape. I don't really think it matters what shape the line of success is, but you have to understand that you're not just going to shoot up overnight. Some people do. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not gonna like lessen your magic, but sometimes we have to work with ourselves so we're not hyperactive or hyper fixated on like the success part, because sometimes the success can cloud up the vision, and so we're basically too distracted about the future, and so we're not living in the present moment and being creative. So sometimes basically what I'm saying is you can feel a lot more anxious and a lot more anxiety by focusing so much on like what you're wanting to produce versus actually producing it. So yeah, so it can feel very distracted that way, and in a lot of other ways too. You'll end up doing other things that are not going to actually produce that manifestation. So again, things can happen overnight for you, but it's just much better. And I actually have another video too. I think you'd probably have to dig a little bit for it, but it's basically telling you that, the best way to manifest is to not focus in on your manifestations, which seems a little counterproductive if you don't really understand the message at first. But it's really about like, not cluttering yourself with the idea of the manifestation so you can focus on the actual production, but also allow yourself to like breathe. You really need to breathe through the process, because it's not about the actual outcome, it's about the process in between, because that's where success comes from. That's where validation actually comes from, because yes, we do need to be validated, and it's the best when you validate yourself. So really work on the gratitude and the validation that you are actually being as much productive as you can be with the energy that you currently have. So don't work yourself to death. You need to give yourself time to recharge. You need to allow yourself to journal and you need to really allow yourself to be in the present moment, because a lot of the times too we get really focused in on technology, so we're constantly staring at our phones, trying to get a creative flush through like watching what other people are doing to be creative and successful. And so that really takes away from ourselves, because we're kind of focusing on what is working out for other people, which isn't going to necessarily work out for us, because we are these basically these avatars in this meat flesh. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Like, we have our own personality traits, we have our own personality, our characteristics, our character, and so we shine in different ways. So it's better to not focus in on other people and what they're doing to be successful, so you can understand that your success comes from your own personality. We have a route, we have a the universe does this, so it basically gives us a path for us to choose from. We can choose the lower vibrations, the medium vibrations, and the higher vibrations, but it's going to depend on what you actually focus in on. So understand that, like, when you're taking away from yourself and you're focused on, comparing yourself to other people, especially, is a big one. It's really going to take away from your happiness, your gratitude, and really your creativity more than anything. So, like, focus back on yourself, breathe in, do some theta work. I definitely recommend listening to theta waves if you're having a problem with like being focused, because listening to music, I found this too, because I used to love listening to music when I was doing work or homework, schoolwork, stuff like that. But I found that it was actually I was being much more distracted by the lyrics and the music versus the actual energy. So, and that can go with other music too. Like, I don't know, I guess it really depends on who you are and what you resonate with as far as the frequency. But like, sometimes even jazz music would like kind of put me in a sleep, so there would be like study music online on YouTube, but I would still get distracted and kind of fall asleep into a slumber, because I was just so hyper focused on the actual music, and it wasn't more of like a subconscious thing. So it's really, the theta waves can help your subconscious focus back in on like your productivity. So maybe put it on like a lower volume and have something that manifests abundance, creativity, or something that's just like not built off of like lyrics and I guess stronger tunes. I'm not quite sure. I'm not an expert at the theta waves or anything like that. I've just experimented with them, so maybe that might help you kind of flourish with your creativity again. Just a little side note. But also, journaling will be your best friend when you're feeling like in a slump or like non-creative. Writing ideas down, even if you don't have or feel like these ideas are that great, you can really build on these ideas in the future or even the near future. So just write things down if it comes to you like through your intuition, these thoughts, ideas. Just write it down in your journal so you can come back to that idea, because maybe you don't have the income or the material, the workspace to really produce right now, but these ideas can help you. Like, they come in lumps. They come in lumps, this creative aspect of us. So it's best to write things down, because you have to think about how quick and easy it is to forget things too. Like, so your best idea is to really write down your ideas and make sure that you can always come back to this sort of thing too when you aren't feeling creative. You can come back to some ideas and have, basically, I do this for myself. I'm not that great at looking back at my journal, but I'm trying to get much better at it. I have like quite a few journals right now, so the thing that you can really do when you're not feeling creative is make a list of different things, different ideas and concepts, and just basically go through it and just kind of work with one thing. And maybe it won't feel like such a great idea initially or when you write it down, but when you're actually in the producing stage, when you're actually making the painting, when you're actually like working on the poetry, the lyrics, whatever it is that you're working on, it actually starts to, you can see it kind of roll out because you wrote this idea down. It's in your brain somewhere. You just have to basically find that folder that's hidden on your desktop. So I hope that message comes through, and my analogies, my examples kind of give you a better idea of what you can do to get out of the slump or the lump, but also be really you know, consistent with your own headspace, because it's not so much consistency with the productivity, which is still great. You want to keep a nice cycle going for yourself. But if you do feel stuck, it could be really that you need to recharge, do some cleansing, some organizing, and just kind of like getting yourself back in your comfort zone, because sometimes we get, family, friends visiting, and so there's a lot of energy around us. Or if we go out and do something like eventful, like we get cluttered with other people's energy. So it's better to refresh ourselves that way. So like the cleansing and the organizing can help you come back to your cycle of productivity. So I hope that message resonates. I hope you enjoyed today's reading and video, and it gives you a little indicator of why you may have felt a little off in this shift, but realize that it's not you feeling stuck. It's just your energy needs to be called back and recharged. I love you. Bye.